welcome to a next chapter conversation from the Senior Living Foundation of the American Foreign Service. I'm Executive Director Kyle Longton. This quarter, our compass is pointed at caregiving. Throughout the next several months, we aim to share with you various resources about caregiving, and we will be hosting online book discussions about The Unexpected Journey by Emma Hemming Willis. On September 23rd, we plan to bring you a featured next chapter conversation with SLF social work consultant Joan Parrish and aging life care professional Heather Surrey of Pathways in Aging. But in the meantime, we will bring you additional information such as today's conversation. And we've recently concluded our focus on healthy aging, and we are just beginning our journey on caregiving. And to help us bridge those two topics, I thought it would be best for us to take a look at the village model. To take us through the village model, I recently spoke with Barbara Hughes Sullivan, who's the National Director of the Village to Village Network. Barbara is a recognized leader in the aging and elder care fields with over 20 years of experience. She earned a BA in Business Administration and Marketing from the George Washington University and began her work in 2001 with Retirement Unlimited, where she led the marketing and business development team in Alexandria, Virginia. Focused on senior issues, Barbara continued her education and earned certification with the Commonwealth of Virginia's Board of Long-Term Care Administrators in 2006. Barbara has been a key figure in the Village movement, which aims to help seniors age in place. She served on the board of directors for the first suburban village, Mount Vernon at Home, from 2008 to 2010, and became its executive director in 2010. In 2018, she was appointed National Director of Village to Village Network, the national association representing over 350 villages across the United States and beyond. She's passionate about supporting older adults to live independently and has served on numerous boards, including as president of the Mount Vernon Lee Chamber of Commerce and as a member of the National Board of Leading Age. Barbara, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Kyle, for inviting me to speak about something I'm very passionate about.
Well, and I'd like to start there, a little bit of your background. I've got your official biography. We shared that in the intro, but maybe you could talk a little bit about sort of what got you interested in this area of work.
Um, so I was actually part of a development and marketing team at a retirement community in Northern Virginia, and I really just loved working with older adults. And so I went back and I got my certificate and became an administrator through the state of Virginia. It's a 2-year course, and um, I really very got passionate about it. And then in 2007, a group of homeowners in my community came to me and said, we saw this article in the New York Times, about the village and the village model, and we want to do this. And of course, I'm working in a corporate office, and they want people to move to their retirement community, not live at home. But we're also talking about the time frame where there was a big housing crunch, and people were
Sure.
not moving, and they were keeping their homes because that was the value. And the more I saw of it, I really fell in love with just the whole idea of neighbors helping neighbors. I always felt very strongly about my neighborhoods and community. And as we age, I mean, I was also at the point where I was raising children and had older, parents. And so dealing with the sandwich generation and knowing. And in 2009, the local village opened, Mount Vernon Home, and I became their director. And 8 years later, the national organization was in search, and I was in the throes of I enjoyed Mount Vernon Home, but we were making a life switch and moving closer to my adult children and grandchildren. And I'm like, this is a great opportunity. So here I am. Um,
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. Well, and our initiative this year, we just finished up talking about healthy aging, which you indicated, and we're now sort of moving into talking about caregiving. And it occurs to me that the village model can help address sort of both those topics, bridge them in a way. And so you've touched on it already a little bit, but I wonder if you could give those who are unfamiliar a little bit of history, a little bit of information about how the village model works.
Sure, absolutely. Well, every village is different. We have 285 open and operating villages in like 42 states, about another 35 that are in development. Um, they have common characteristics. You know, it is neighbor helping neighbor, but it's how to help people who are living in their homes, non-medical, um, to encourage independence and provide support to stay as independent and active as possible. And that spans, social programs, transportation. Many of my villages do transportation through volunteer services, to doctor's appointments, grocery stores, you name it. They do, a lot of my villages do friendly visit, so if somebody is homebound, they, have a friendly visitor come, and it's a friendly visitor that might be, giving that caregiver or the spouse a break and just, staying with the person. They're not doing anything except visiting, and having a social time. And so there's a lot of support service. Technology. I think the top three requests that, service requests that members ask are one, transportation, two, technology. We all have these little smartphones, but they're smarter than us, and how do you navigate them? And three is sort of like the honey-do list. And we had volunteers that would come and help. I call it the honey-do list. But, the light bulb's out, in the kitchen. You don't want somebody older to get on a ladder. Um, just the little things. We're not talking major repairs, but, the household stuff,
Yeah.
winterizing a hose, putting away, helping getting, the garden ready for, we have lots of folks. But it also incorporates community members that live in the community that are looking for purpose, things to give back, to be able to provide support to your neighbor. And at the end of the day, it really does, we all want purpose. And it enables the community at large to get together and be, productive.
Yep. And I love that the model addresses, you're talking about the social aspect, which is so important. Um, the caregiving, the transportation, but also just the general services around the house. I think with my own parents about changing the smoke detector battery before it starts
Right,
chirping, right?
right,
Those little things, and
right,
that for those who are providing those services, which are our neighbors, these aren't necessarily vendors, right? Paid folks who are
right.
coming in. It does give them purpose. And I'm just curious, does belonging to a village typically, is there a cost to it usually? Are people paying like a membership fee?
It really varies from village to village. There are villages that have no dues. We have villages that say pay as you can. Some of the villages do have dues. They might be an annual due, like, I think the most I've heard is probably about 700 annually, and they break it down monthly. So it's about, 35, $40 a month, but it's to provide, possibly and usually staff,
Hmm.
to, hire somebody who's going to be able to, help run or coordinate some of the service requests or the programs. And so um, it just really depends on the structure. My nonprofits are pretty much, I'd say 99% of them are nonprofits.
Okay.
Or they have a parent organization that's a nonprofit. And so they're they have to look at the financial structure, and that's why they may charge dues. So it's not a lot. Many of our villages are doing fundraising, grant writing, you name it, to, help sustain, the financial stability of the village.
Excellent. So if someone is considering moving into an area with a village and joining that village, what would you say to them? Again, assuming maybe they're not in a position to need care and support right now, so they might be offering that to others. What benefits beyond purpose might they gain? Is
Oh, I think the social connections, and you're never too old to make a new friend. Or, and I was just, it's hit the papers today, an NPR article about solo aging. And, we have a lot of folks that
mm,
are aging solo. And so if you're moving to an area, or maybe you become a solo ager and you're looking for just friendships, or
mhm,
you don't want to go to the movies alone, or you don't want to, and so villages are putting together programs to encourage that interaction. And I've had my phone has been blowing up today from people who read that article because they're like, I'm a solo ager. Is there a village in my community? I'm like, yeah, go to our website and type in your zip code in our map, and it can show you if there's a village near you. Or if you want to start a village, we can help you with that too. So we're not a franchise. We just, it's really organically grown from the community. And that's the nice thing. I mean, the village model really started with a very white middle class, group of folks. And now it has evolved into a very different, we're so excited that the model is being replicated in faith-based organizations and marginalized communities that are
Mhm.
underserved, so it's refreshing to know that this is going to continue. I mean, it's 25 years old, but it's really been um, encouraging since COVID too.
Yeah.
We've seen an uptick.
So, and you've touched on this, but I'm wondering, can you give just a summary of what the Village to Village Network does?
Oh, sure. So we're like we say all the time, we're like a village commons. We do help, start villages. We have a toolkit, we have a mentor program. Um, and so And the mentor program's not just for developing villages. The mentor program's also for villages that have been in existence for 10 years and they may have had, they've got aging members and they are needing more care and their boards are turning over and they need
Hmm.
some guidance on governance. So we have like a lot of documents, a lot of tools that we help our members with, um, especially with the startup phase. But then, and we have ongoing webinars, how to, who to look for as far as, background checks or, every village, because they're nonprofits, have to have insurance, liability insurance, things like that. Back office software, reliable. So we're sort of like a clearinghouse for all those different, um, places that, you can look and educate our villages. Then the other hat is advocacy. We're very involved in a lot of, issues that are surrounding older adults, that are impacting us greatly right now.
Yeah.
And those areas are Medicare, what's going to happen, Social Security, the Older Americans Act. We've seen, misdirections on and guidance on vaccines, there's a lot of, so we're very involved with a lot of our aging organizations, like Leading Council on Aging, um, American Society on Aging. I'm on the board of Leading Age. They are the number one provider, or membership that represents all the nonprofits in the industries. And so there's state chapters and then there's the national chapter. And they're doing a lot. I mean, and so we keep a pulse on what's happening and what directly impacts our villages and communities.
And if somebody wanted to learn more about villages, they wanted to learn more about the work of Village to Village or find out about some of these advocacy efforts, where should they go?
Go to our website. We have a lot of news, up and coming news, www.vtvnetwork.org. Um, or just Google the Village Movement and you'll get us. And we have postings of, some of our news, up and coming. Like I mentioned, the NPR article, but we also were in the New York Times recently, you know, um, and for our members, we have an internal forum that we post. So yesterday I posted something for our village members to participate in a talk about what's happening with Medicare.
Hmm.
And so it's with the Robert Woods Foundation, but it's things that we see on the front line that we turn around and we give to our village members, so they in turn can educate their own members.
Excellent sense. It sounds like a great resource for those who are involved with the village, those who want to learn more and just stay abreast of issues affecting older
Mm.
adults. So, Barbara, thank you so much for all that you and your colleagues do and all those involved in villages across the United States. And thanks for joining us for this next chapter conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.